Zenbivy Zipbed Overland. It sounds a bit like a military operation, but it's actually the latest release of Zenbivy, a company that makes super comfy sleep systems built around a quilt with a characteristic hood attached to the head end of the mattress. And they have gathered quite a loyal fan base through the years, expanding their lineup from their first Zenbivy bed in 2017 to more lightweight options, cold weather options, two-person options, but always with the same core design. Now, if I'm being honest, they've always struck me as a kind of company that was maybe a little too good at marketing with a very strong social media game, the type of brand that just pops up everywhere with every reviewer seeming just a little too enthusiastic. I don't know, maybe I'm just a little jaded by all this influencer stuff. Testing this thing out though, it turns out my misgivings weren't quite warranted because the Zipbed Overland is indeed very comfortable. The only thing I've tested that comes close is this Decathlon sleep system, and the reason is probably that they borrowed part of the design from Zenbivy. So what makes it great? I think it's a combo of Zenbivy smartly using the traditional strengths of a quilt system and making it easy and accessible to a broader audience on the one hand, and superior draft management on the other. If you've been here before, then you know that I'm a fan of quilts, especially for side sleepers, people who toss and turn in their sleep or just don't like the claustrophobic feeling that you get in mummy bags. I think quilts, in general, not just this one, are more comfortable than sleeping bags in most settings. Zenbivy doesn't change the game here. Their quilt designs are radically different from other brands, but they do have a well thought out setup with a fitted sheet that goes around the mattress, and that takes a bit of the guesswork, takes the learning curve out of quilts. But the one thing that makes Zenbivy unique is the way this attaches and then curves into a hood that goes around your pillow and over your head as you're sleeping. And if that looks underwhelming, what this does is it eliminates the drafts around your neck that you will get with a quilt setup, giving you the warmth of a sleeping bag with the freedom and the familiar bed-like feeling of a quilt. It's hard to describe in a video why that makes such a difference, but it does. Also, one thing I was not expecting is the fact that the hood also works as a kind of sleep mask on sunny mornings when you need just a little more shut-eye, and that came in very handy a couple of times. So that's the basic design that you'll find on all Zenbivy systems. The Zipbed Overland is a bit special in the sense that it's aimed squarely at car camping. Most of Zenbivy's other models are designed for weight-conscious users like hikers and bike packers, and while they're not the lightest option on the market, you can integrate them in a lightweight or even ultralight setup. The Zenbivy Overland is on the whole other end of the spectrum. This is the result of Zenbivy's designers asking, what could we make if we didn't have to care about weight? The result is a system that, without the mattress or the pillow, weighs 1,470 grams, 3 pounds, 4 ounces, for the large down version, the synthetic version, weighing about 500 grams more. Clearly not meant for backpacking unless you define backpacking as carrying it from the garage to the car. So weight is going to be less of an issue here, and neither is pack size. Usually I'll just roll this into the mattress so it takes up next to zero extra space. You probably don't want to do that. To store it long term though, best to let quilts and sleeping bags loft while not in use. The extra weight translates into a couple of creature comforts. The whole thing is made of a 50 denier pongee, that's Zenbivy's softest fabric and less crinkly than the ultralight fabrics, a bit more comfortable to sweat into as well in summer. There are zippers instead of clips and buttons, and the quilt is rectangular with a customizable footbox. You can zip it tight and cinch it at the back in cold weather, or open it up all the way and use it like a blanket in summer. So, without having tested all Zenbivy's models, it's a safe bet that this one is among the most comfortable, especially since it's designed to be used with a thicker car camping mattress. And you know, the last time that I reviewed one of these car camping sleep systems, there were people in the comments saying, well, actually, my hiking mat feels better to sleep on than my expensive mattress at home. Not gonna say that's not possible, but I don't think that's the case for most people. I love searching for the best ultralight sleeping mats as much as the next guy, and I don't mind sleeping on them. But as a side sleeper that moves around a lot, if there is the option of a thicker foam mattress, I will pick that 100% of the time. Same for pillows. Inflatable does the job, but a good foam pillow will always be more comfy to me. That does mean that if you don't own a good car camping mattress already, you have to buy one first from a third-party brand, because Zenbivy doesn't make this type of mattress. I've tested it with the Zipbed Mega Mat, and I can vouch for that being a great combo. The Zipbed Overland will take you down to freezing temperatures with an official limit temperature of -4 Celsius, is 25 Fahrenheit, and a comfort temperature of 2 degrees. I reckon that's a good range. I also think a product like this needs that kind of range, because if I'm buying a sleep system that I can only use while car camping, and it's already kind of a niche product for me, then it needs to be able to handle every car camping scenario. I use this down to -2 Celsius, that's 28 Fahrenheit, wearing long underwear, and that was perfectly fine. So yeah, that comfort rating seems about right. I don't know if there's all that many people who go car camping around freezing temperatures, but it's nice to know that you can. The Zipbed Overland is not for everyone. It has, to quote Liam Neeson, a very particular set of skills. It's a great system for the right application, but fair is fair. That application is a bit more narrow than some of Zenbivy's other products. Maybe that's why they didn't launch one of these before. Maybe they thought we're now at the point where enough people equate Zenbivy with great sleep that they'll also want one of our products for car camping. And you know, that's a decent enough sales pitch if you spend enough nights car camping. For me, that's somewhere around 5 to 10 nights a year. Nights I can also make do with my hiking gear. It won't be as comfortable, but it'll be good enough. So it's a bit of a toss-up for me personally. The people who I think will mostly benefit from the Zipbed Overland are people who spend a good chunk of time car camping, people who use a base camp for their outdoor activities, vanlifers, absolutely, or people who just want an extra just-in-case bed in a camper or a trailer. And one thing that occurred to me while testing this is that a lot of new cars, especially a lot of EVs, allow you to create a nice flat space in the back, and some of them even have space underneath the trunk floor that would be a great fit for an inflatable mattress with one of these attached. That to me would be a great just-in-case sleep system to always have in your car. I used to photograph weddings back in the day, and too often after a 16-hour workday, I would drive home even though I knew I was actually too tired to do so safely. This would have been a godsend, honestly. Biggest potential downside is probably the price. At 325 euros for the synthetic version, 440 for the down version, these don't come cheap. And I usually tend towards down for hiking sleep systems.
Get down, get down, get down, get down, get down, get down, get down.
In this case, weight and pack size don't matter as much, so I think the synthetic version is probably the rational choice for most people. Other than that, I don't have too many negatives to report. The attachment system got in the way of the inflation and deflation system on my Zipbed Mega Mat. I suppose that's one. I guess it impressed me most in colder weather, when you're like, how is this so warm and comfy? The warmer it is, the more you get into diminishing returns. The Zenbivy system will still be more comfy than just some old quilt, but the difference won't be as big. So again, comes down to when will you be using it? What kind of versatility do you need? Okay, in conclusion, is this overkill even for car camping? Maybe. Do I want to be overkilled like this? Yes. If I could only own one Zenbivy product, I don't think it would be this one. just because a lot of my outdoor sleeping scenarios require me to carry it around on my back. So Zenbivy's light or ultralight beds might be a better fit, and I'm going to assume that that applies to a lot of people. But there's no denying that the Zipbed Overland with the right mattress beats those lighter options when it comes to sheer comfort. So if you're all about car camping, it's a burrito of happiness. That's it for me. Thanks a bunch for watching, and see you around.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.